Welcome. Today's question is, what's a persona? A lot of people have been asking this question because they've heard the term persona. They've heard it mainly when we're talking about either a user persona or a customer persona. But a persona can be about a lot of other different types of people. It can be anybody in the stakeholder group. So it could be a government, it could be an investor, it could be a supplier, it could be representing different customer groups. When we're talking about, well, what is a persona? A persona is a fictional representation of a person or team or enterprise within their role. So a persona can be about an individual, it can be about a group of individuals that are very like-minded, that have similar characteristics. A persona can be about a team of people within an organisation. A persona can be about the organisation itself, particularly if you're talking about B2B type businesses. So personas, it's where we're humanising what's going on for the people that we're trying to either make decisions about, or we're trying to understand, or we're trying to learn more about. So a persona is typically created from the research undertaken in the discovery phase of the 4D design thinking framework. And what we want to do is take that information and to create a fictional representation of what's going on for that particular person. Often when growth champions and leaders think of personas, in their minds come images of a typical customer and a customer persona. And as mentioned previously, a persona is a fictional representation of a person within their role. And as I said to you previously, any stakeholders the businesses have a role, and therefore they can have a persona to represent their role. So, for example, we might be talking about who could be an investor that could help us with achieve our goals that we're hoping to achieve in order to grow our business. An investor, they might be focused on looking at competitive business models to work out which of those that they're likely to invest in. Alternatively, a persona could be potentially a senior executive. And in this case, a senior executive might be focused on the future of moving the business forward. They might be focused on growth planning and strategic development and execution. And this particular persona is different from the investor persona. A third example that I have developed here for you is the example of an entrepreneur. So in this case, we have an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur, I should say, not an entrepreneur. An intrapreneur is a person who is within the business, already working for a company or an organisation. And that person is also focused on the future and focused on developing the future and moving the business forward or their team forward through innovation and creativity. So that persona is a different person to both the senior executive and to the investor. So it's really clear that we have a good understanding of the person that we're trying to develop a persona for. If we were interested in looking at all of these three stakeholders in moving forward, what we would do is we would develop three individual personas. So each persona should just represent a particular target person or target group or target organisation or target team. So it's about the role that that person or people are playing. Let's take a closer look at one of our personas. So in this case, we're going to look at our senior executive who's focused on the future. She's interested in growth planning and strategic execution. So we learnt about this particular person. Her name is Anne. She's the COO, and she's over 50, an empty nester. She lives in Sydney, Australia. She has a personality type of an INTJ, and she has a goal to grow the business 2% over the next 12 months, which can be quite an ambitious goal, depending on what 2% means to your particular business. And she's really challenged by trying to establish the right pace of change in order to achieve that goal. Now, to collect this data for us to learn a little bit more about Anne, we collected the data from our discovery steps phase of the 4D design thinking framework, and that data helped us to build this persona. The information came from a number of different sources, including the company website for the company that Anne works for. Anne shared her personality test results across social media, so that's where we collected that information from. And she underwent an interview with our discovery team, and she also participated in a card sorting exercise within our interview. And within the card sorting exercise, one of the things that she was asked to do, she was asked to prioritize her goals. She was asked to prioritize and identify the challenges that she was trying to achieve. And that's how we were able to really articulate what the key goals were for her, what she was challenged by, and we were able to back this up with information that we had in our interview phase. So when you're developing a persona, the whole purpose of the persona is to get a really good understanding of who this person is and what's going on for them, so that not only can we be curious about the person, we can actually learn information about them. That's the whole purpose of trying to discover more about them.